All right, so if you want to succeed and do better in your life, your business, your relationships, everybody has some sort of area where they struggle and they want to do better. And I learned a really important lesson from a guy named Sam. In fact, Sam doesn't even know I'm doing this video, and he doesn't even probably know the effect he had on me. It was a very good effect. You see, my wife and I, we live near a town called Frisco, Texas, and there's a new diner that opened up, and I won't tell you the name of it, but it has the word diner and it has the word Frisco in the name, and it opened up a couple of months ago, and from the very first time I went in there, there was a guy who walked up and his name was Sam, and he wasn't my waiter, but as I was eating, he came up and he shook my hand. He worked there. He was another waiter, and he shook my hand and said hi, and just asked me a question or two, and very friendly. And I thought that was really interesting. But here's what happened. He wasn't even my waiter, and on the way out, he said, "Have a great day, Brian," because he came up and he shook my hand, introduced himself, and I said, "Have a great day, Sam." So my wife and I, we actually go in there about once a week now. Sometimes once every 2 weeks, but once a week. We actually went twice last week. And it's funny, one of the times we went last week was when we went in there, my wife looked at me and she said, "Hey, Sam isn't here." My wife actually noticed that Sam wasn't working that day. And I said, "Oh, well, maybe he has the day off or something." He certainly deserves it. He's a great guy. And so I thought that was really interesting. But what's really interesting is that you all know me as a resilience trainer. You know me as somebody who has been through a lot in my life, and I share my life lessons with people to help them overcome their challenges. And one of the things I speak about when I speak to different companies and organizations around the world is creating ambition in the people they serve. All right, so if it's a nonprofit, it's the donors. If it's a company, a for-profit corporation, I help them create ambition within their customers that helps drive them to a desired action. All right, so ambition is really nothing more than, in fact, ambition is defined in one way as a sincerely zealous desire for an outcome. A sincerely zealous desire for an outcome. That's a pretty strong desire for a particular outcome. Well, in every business, you want more customers. You want higher paying customers. You want retained customers. You want more people who are going to continue coming into your pipeline, paying you money as you serve them with something of value to them. And I just thought it was so interesting with Sam, because he didn't have to remember my name. Every time I go in there, he knows my name. I've met the guy only a handful of times, only when I'm going in there to eat breakfast. And he didn't have to do that. Every other waiter or waitress we've experienced there has been incredible. They've been awesome. And so it's a really great experience. That's one thing that pulls us back, that drives ambition inside of us. But the fact that when we go back, if Sam's not there, we notice that Sam isn't there. It's funny. It's like an unspoken thing. And like I said, my wife even mentioned that she noticed he wasn't there, and she had only met him once. But the reason she knew about Sam is because when I got home from the first time going there, I was by myself. I told her about Sam because I had this really unique personal experience with this individual. So I want to ask you, what are you doing in your business? What are you doing in your company? What are you doing in your job to create ambition within those, to draw out ambition, to create ambition inside of the people who you're serving in order to bring them to a desired and mutually beneficial outcome? Don't just be a sleazy salesman, all right? Don't just be a sleazy salesman, but a good business is when it's mutually beneficial. And sometimes people get so complacent and comfortable with where they are that they really don't seek out what the alternatives and the benefits that we can bring them. All right, but it's interesting. It's just a little diner, a little restaurant place. They're only open until like 2 o'clock every day, and so they only serve basically breakfast and brunch, and they do have lunch there. But I've had such an incredible experience. One employee who didn't take a whole lot of extra effort, but was just nice, decided to go a little above and beyond the call of duty. And as a result, my wife and I, again, we go there once or twice a week usually. And we usually end up spending, if it's our whole family, we usually end up spending, about $40, $45 with tip and all included. And so that can actually get very expensive. And so, but it's interesting when we walk in, the first thing, I don't even consciously do this, but the first thing I think when I walk in is, I wonder where Sam is. And he's usually standing right there at the register or at the counter, and he usually looks up and he's one of the first people to see me. And he calls me by name. All right, I'm a horrible person with names, but I can tell you, I don't know why his name was so easy to remember. But it has been. And I can't tell you how much money that restaurant's made off of my family alone. Yeah, they have great food. They have a bunch of other great waiters and waitresses too. Again, we've had a great experience with all of them. But Sam took the time to get to know my name. And he remembered it. And so they're making a lot of money off of us. And he's not manipulating or anything. He's just doing a great job at what he does. So I say give that man a raise because he's bringing in a lot of business. Chance here says, I make an extra effort at my cleaning job I do at Mueller, and they love me for the work I do. Absolutely. Great example, Chance. Good in the comments right there. It's so incredible. You know, one of the greatest I've heard, I don't know who said it, but they said, you know, the greatest sound in the world to a person is their own name. And so when you remember somebody's name, or that, or if you remember something about them that's very personal, or maybe something about their kids, maybe they just had a big game or something, and you ask about their game, and if you remember the kid's name, oh my gosh, that means so much to people. So you have what it takes. You have the ability to create ambition within people in order to have a productive relationship with them, whether it's a personal one or a business one. And it doesn't take a lot of extra effort. So if you want to be more productive and you want to be more happy and you want to be more successful in your relationships, be like Sam.